weekend that I was out drinking with Jack, the other DM, one of them.
Yep.
And he said...
I tell you what, as soon as you said another DM, I knew exactly who it was, Asta. I knew exactly who it was.
I was telling you about the quest, and he said, what if?
There you go. That's how it starts. That's how we ended up with Lyranda, Asta.
Yeah.
It's Jack getting drunk and going, what if?
to me and Billy. And we were both like, yeah, that's an awesome idea. Next week, suddenly the post went up and it was like, oh no.
What have we done?
And it's great in terms of because the other players are convinced that and she was
nice.
So
maybe don't reveal too much, Asta, because we are now recording, and
yes.
I know that there are some people in our group who do listen to this podcast. So
I will edit it out.
I think what I just said is probably fine, just enough that if any of the party members are listening, they'll be like,
something's happening. Don't know what.
What is this? What have you done? What's going on?
Speaking of not knowing what's going on, welcome our listeners to Tales from the 20 Side, a Pathfinder 2nd edition Let's Play podcast. My name is Dom, and I'm your GM for this game and for many others, and I'm joined by Stu.
Hello. I'm
joined by Amy.
I'm pinned down by time.
You are. The weight of time is weighing heavy upon you.
Yeah.
And I'm joined by Asta.
Hello.
Hello. How are we all? How was everyone's little break?
Nice. I had some lunch.
It's good. I had leftover pizza from last night, so I'm a happy bunny.
Very nice. Very nice.
Are you a cold pizza enjoyer, or do you prefer to reheat your pizza?
I am a cold pizza person.
Yeah.
Zombie pizza all the way.
Yeah.
Gotta heat that up in the microwave.
No, not in the microwave.
Yeah.
Just do it in a pan.
Oh dear.
Is it a deep pan?
It might be a very deep pan.
That was
Funny.
a deep pun.
It was a deep pun. There you go. Wasn't really a pun though, because it's literally called deep pan pizza. So they literally use a deep pan for it. But there we go. I'm being pedantic.
Yeah.
Sorry, words. Yeah. How are we feeling, folks? You're escaping Clock Tower.
Escaping is a strong word.
I think it's going fantastically. No issues so far. Everything's going according to plan.
Yep.
No issues.
No issues for the majority of the party. We have found our operatic singer, Barclay, who is he reminds me of Professor Lockhart from the second Harry Potter. He's
One
got
who
that
tries to
kind
murder kids. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yes.
got that kind of vibe. I feel like for me, which is funny. I like him.
That's also a massive insult as well, because like Lockhart was just the fucking worst when you really think about it.
He's
like
awful.
His entire career was based around stealing people's, basically erasing people's memories and taking their deeds as his own. And he had
Spoilers,
no qualms.
by the way, if you've not read Harry Potter, we apologise.
Spoilers for a 20-year-old book at this point.
Yeah.
Dumbledore dies.
They all die. They all die. Yeah, eventually. But yeah, the fact that Lockhart sort of goes around, obviously, erasing people's memories and claiming their deeds as his own, and leaving their families to pick up the pieces of these broken lives, and the fact that he has absolutely no qualms about doing that to school children is terrifying.
I mean, I'm not saying that Barclay is like that evil. It's just his manner reminds me of Lockhart's. That's where I was going with that.
Barclay hilariously reminds me of the character I play at the pub.
You may have been inspired a little bit by Vamris.
Oh, I'm honoured.
I've taken Vamris and I've turned the darling up to 11 with Barclay.
Nice. As it should be. As it should be.
Yes, but Barclay wasn't the only person we found, and we found Inga, who is a looked after child in this place that we've found.
Mm.
No idea who she is, but we're taking her with us.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Have we even stopped to question why she's getting special treatment?
No.
Nope.
Maybe
No,
we
you
should have.
You've barely said a word to her. It's great. She's like,
Yeah.
"Are you here to rescue me?" You're like, "Yes." And she's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I guess I'm leaving
the
now.
most believable person that she's ever met ever.
Yeah.
So that's why. But yes, and then Alwyn managed to throw the adamantine sword into the clockwork, which has now caused this chaos that we're trying to flee from.
That we caused.
Yes. That we caused. That was planned.
Yeah.
And and Amos is fighting a troll at the moment.
Well, we're assuming so. I mean, we might get downstairs and just find Amos's bloody corpse.
I hope not.
Because he was just a little busy last time we heard from him.
Yeah. I've got a lot of belief in Amos can handle himself, so.
Wow.
But we'll find out.
Shall we? We may very, very well find out exactly what's happened to Amos. However, before we do, I think there's a slightly more pressing concern, a literally pressing concern.
Very
for some of you.
pressing. Yeah. Della's not doing so well. She's currently pinned under this giant gear, having fallen 40 feet first.
Yep.
And not been able to get out the way, and being dazed. So, yeah, she's kind of stuck at the moment.
I tell you what. I know we're still a little bit early in preamble, but I get the sense that you guys just want to crack on and figure out how we get out of this situation. Am I correct in saying that?
I'm keen to see what happens next.
Let's turn them cogs.
Yay!
All right. In that case, we bring ourselves back in as with the tower crumbling around you. Della has just been pinned to the ground by one of these falling cogs. A few of you have taken some damage from falling debris and such. The entire tower around you is shaking and threatening to tear itself apart under the strain of the clockwork that you imposed. So yeah, I'll throw it over to you guys. It's a very tense situation. What do you all want to do?
Well, I did have an idea to try and get Della out. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm up for giving it a go.
What's the idea?
I have a second level spell called Telekinetic Maneuver,
Ooh,
which allows me to
okay.
attempt to disarm, shove, or trip a target using a spell attack roll instead of an athletics check. So I was thinking of trying to maneuver myself where I could try and shove Della out from under the cog.
Oh, shoving Della rather than shoving the cog itself. Yeah, no, that would absolutely be a thing you can do. Yeah, make your spell attack there, Ryden, if that's what you want to do.
Come on, roll well.
Don't crit.
Okay. That is me not being able to count. 1 moment. That is a 30.
Ooh.
30, Della. I can tell you against this hazard is a success. You sort of squeeze yourself behind the steps as the stairs are breaking apart around you. You see a chunk of the wall falls away, and you see daylight behind you. And as you do so, you look at Della trapped under the cog. You decide you have some semblance of attachment to these people. Who appear to just be the most chaotic people you've ever met, and summoning your magical energies, you execute a telekinetic maneuver, and you push Della out of the cog. As Della is pushed out, the gear and the mechanism sort of settles and falls. Let's have a reflex save from everybody, please, as it topples over.
Oh, come on. Well, at least it's a new game.
Yeah.
Oh, I rolled all right. 31 for Della.
31 for Della. For Ryden.
A natural 1 for a 14.
Okay.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know if we've gone through this with you before, Asta, but you do have access to a hero point, which allows you a single reroll per game.
Oh, it can't get any worse. Let's try it. That's another natural 1.
Oh no, Ryden.
You've taken my bad luck.
Place. Yeah.
I should. This dice clearly isn't weighted. In the bin.
That's it. The dice jail. What we've got for Alwyn?
Alwyn gets a 29. Chardonnay gets a 30.
Perfect. So everybody except Ryden is able to get out of the way as the gear sort of topples over. Ryden, you take 3 points of damage as you're sort of clocked with clocked. Get it? as you're hit with a chunk of debris as this mechanism settles. The rest of you are able to get out of the way enough that you suffer no ill effect there. And you can see before you, with the tower still shaking and shuddering, these horrific grinding and cracking sounds now reverberating through the entire structure. You can see the door leading into the foyer is open, and actually the double doors beyond it that lead outside properly are completely open. They seem to have been smashed open from the inside, and there is currently no sign of Amos or this troll.
Oh no.
What do you do?
They were meant to be here though, right?
Well,
They were fighting in this chamber. Yes, this is where you left them.
Right. I think Amos is sensible and would leave. Let's leave.
I can't do anything else, really.
No. Running.
I mean, wouldn't it be terrible if there was someone else you were meant to rescue in the tower?
Is there?
I don't know. Is there? You tell me. No, you leave the tower sort of as just as the walls around you start to shudder and break as this whole thing seems to start swaying. You burst out of these broken open doors into the courtyard of the tower itself, and you can see off to the right hand side there is an indentation where it looks like the stonework has been sort of broken inwards by an intense force. You can see lying on the ground next to the wall, with its head facing the wrong way, you see the charred and blackened unmoving form of a frost troll, and kind of slumped against the wall itself, conscious but very badly beaten up, you see Brother Amos, and he looks at all of you and he says, "You took your bloody time."
You had it covered.
I'd like to do battle medicine on Brother Amos.
Yeah, sure thing. Make that medicine check, Alwyn.
I'm going to do it at the lowest DC. And yeah.
Right.
This is just a quick patch up. Ooh, rolled a 4 for 17.
Thankfully,
Good
not
job
a
I
critical
did.
failure. Yeah,
Good job I did the lowest DC.
that's it. As you're doing that, it's sloppy work. You know, this is a very tense situation as this tower is literally, and you sort of look up, you see the tower beginning to crack all along the structure. It's very close to coming down entirely. You rush over, you do what you can for Amos, and he looks at you as you do so, and he says, "I'm so glad you're not as shit at this as you used to be." And yeah, you restore some hit points to him.
I restored 9 hit points to him.
9 hit points. As you're doing so, Alwyn, you do notice that one of Amos's legs is twisted at a funny angle. And as you sort of finish healing your battle medicine, he looks at you and he says, "Tough bastard, you got me good. I can't walk. Can you get me up?"
Yeah, Alwyn will do his best to heft Brother Amos.
Yeah, you heft Amos up, and you see it takes a second as he's he can't put any weight on his left leg at all. Looks like a tendon or something has been torn. Certainly something that's within Alwyn's abilities to treat. However, not at this moment. It's a bit too much going on to fix that. But yeah, you easily are able to heft him up. I just mute the Discord server that I forgot about.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, you heft him up, and as the rest of your companions, as well as Barclay and Inga, come pouring out of the tower, a cloud of dust follows them all outwards. You hear a creak and a shudder, and you look up and you watch as the tower itself begins to collapse inwards. What do you all do?
I mean, we're not safe here, are we? We need to move.
I was just going to act as a crutch for Brother Amos and get him as... I know it's going to be slow going, but...
Yeah.
Get him away as quickly as possible. But I will say to the others, you all go on ahead. Get the civilians to safety.
All right.
I will usher up behind Chardonnay, Inga and Barclay and just start sort of pushing them ahead.
Yeah, sure. So what's the plan here? Obviously, this is the middle of the day. You can actually see as you come out, there are a number of people, a number of sort of citizens of Whitethrone, keeping their distance from the tower, but you can see that clearly people have noticed what's happening. You can see people pointing at the tower in shock. Sort of crowds of people backing away from the tower itself as they see it start to come down. What are you guys doing? Are you just going to try and run along the road, or are you ducking into an alley? What are you doing?
Ryden's going to want to get out of sight as soon as possible.
Yeah, we don't want it drawn attention that we might be responsible for something like this.
Yeah, and in fact, as you're having these thoughts, Ryden, you notice coming from either ends of the street on which the tower sits, you see patrols of Winter Guard in full sprint running in the direction of the tower. They're just starting to come round the corners, but you've potentially got a window to get out of sight if you move now.
Move. Yeah.
All right. Let's have a round of stealth checks from everybody. Alwyn, take a -2 penalty as you're carrying Amos.
Okay.
Ooh. Very well.
I am going to use my hero point. I did roll a 7 for a total of 19, which will bring it down to 17.
Okay.
Use my hero point because this feels important. Oh, a 19 for a total of 31, bringing it down to 29.
Amazing.
Good use of a hero point.
Very good use of a hero point.
26 from Ryden.
26 from Ryden.
Della got 33.
Della got 33. Fantastic.
Do you want a separate for Chardonnay?
Yes, let's have one for Chardonnay.
Okay. So I'll just roll a d20 out plus 3. Oh, total of 21 for Chardonnay.
21 for Chardonnay. Okay. So you all rolled pretty well there, all things told. In the chaos, in the utter chaos and confusion that's happening here, this loud cacophony. Apologies to any of our listeners if this triggers anything, but I'm sort of feeling very World Trade Center vibes when that kind of came down. Sort of this whole ground, the very ground around this clock tower is shaking and vibrating as the tower begins to crumble, and you as a party you quickly scurry across the street. In all the chaos that's happening, it doesn't appear as though any of the citizenry around you have taken much notice of you. If they did see you, they perhaps thought that you were just trying to get away as well. and certainly these Winter Guard patrols also don't seem to notice you. But as you get across the street and you get ducked into an alley, there is a final creaking, groan, and cracking of stone, and you watch as this clock tower crumbles inwards, and there is a blast of dust and debris that sprays out as it collapses all the way, well, most of the way to the ground. You see a good 2/3 of the tower has collapsed. The kind of base layer seems to be mostly intact. However, it has been peppered with debris from above. And as the dust settles and it falls to silence, you chance a glance over at the tower itself, and for a moment, nothing seems to happen. And then you start to see from the centre of where this debris has come down, you start to see movement as the rubble shifts, as something massive begins to force its way out. And a second or two later, you see a white-scaled head burst free of the tower. A blast of icy cold air is shot from its mouth into the sky, perhaps in frustration as much as anything else. And you watch. Those of you who have encountered Logrovich before, you watch as Logrovich begins to pull himself out of the debris of the tower. You can see that one of his wings looks quite badly damaged, and he looks around, furious, and you hear something shouted in Draconic that only Amos would understand. And obviously, as Darren's not here, I'm not going to tell him what it is. Another blast of icy cold air shoots into the sky, and you watch as, with some difficulty, the dragon heaves itself into the air, one of its wings sort of hanging a little limply by its side. It takes some effort for it to get airborne. And you watch as Logrovich perches for a second on what remains of the clock tower, surveys the area around it. And there is a very tense moment as he looks in the direction of the alleyway where you're all hiding. And you press yourselves back against the wall of the alleyway, and you hope. And you pray to whatever gods you believe in that he hasn't seen you. And then, after a tense few seconds, Logrovich's attention moves elsewhere. He scans the rest of the street, takes painfully to the air, and with another roar and blast of frigid air, he begins to fly away from the city toward the south across the glacier lake. As the calm, as the quiet of this moment settles, and you start hearing the cries of the wounded, the shock of civilians, the Winter Guard attempting to restore some measure of order here, you realise that you have had a very close escape. What do you wish to do?
I would like to be cheeky and ask what the dragon said, because Rotund speaks Draconic.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. Sorry, I thought only Amos had it. So what Logrovich said, Rotund, was it was words to the effect of, "Where are you, you little rats? I know you're here somewhere." But other than that, it was all just anger spewing forth. You know, there wasn't a lot of sense being made. It was lots of threats, lots of frustration, just all pouring out in the moment.
Right.
And then actually, as it's flying off, you would have heard it say something else, and it sort of bellows this out as it does so, seemingly to get the attention of, well, someone who can hear it. You heard him call out as he was flying away, "Elvana, get me another tower." and then just
Okay.
continue flying over the tower, over the lake.
I will relay that to the rest of the party.
Cool. This is our window of opportunity.
It is.
Shall I let off a skyrocket?
What?
I've got a skyrocket to let off to signal.
Yes, you
No.
have.
We're not going to get a tower in the next couple of hours, I don't think.
Have we?
What I will
Well-
say, Della, what I will say, Della, and you remember Solvig telling you this. The skyrocket is the signal that the Iron Guard, the old Guard force of White Throne, are waiting for to launch their uprising.
Yeah.
Solvik has told you that they know they are vastly outmatched, and they know it. Whilst they're willing to help you in what you're doing to reclaim the hut and hopefully restore Baba Yaga, Solvik has told you that once you set that rocket off, they can give you a window of maybe a couple of days.
Yeah.
So if you set it off now, basically what you're saying is you're going now.
Okay. I didn't know if we had time to wait.
No, I think we ought to. I mean, I'm really hurt.
So am
Amos
I.
can't walk. No,
Oh.
I think we need to get back to base,
Okay.
heal up,
And then go.
and then go.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Raiden, that was Logrovich, the one I described as a dick.
Yeah, I can understand why you might have come to that conclusion. Some of the things he was saying were quite unnecessary.
There was a lot of talk about these people's mothers.
Quite rude.
Yes. Very uncivil.
Okay. Let's get back to the secret base, please.
Yes, we need to get back to secret base, and then Barclay, you have a very special performance once we're back safe.
Oh my! A performance! I'll have to do some vocal exercises. Pray tell, dear boy, what's the occasion?
Well, no, keep quiet until we're back. But for one thing, you've got a bit of a fan waiting for you. But for another, we all know it ain't over until the skinny bloke sings.
Ha! Yes, that's very true, my dear boy. And I am the designated skinny boy within the opera world.
Right.
He says that he's actually reasonably rotund.
Oh, is it? Right, I missed that in the description.
Yeah.
And we also need to find out where this little one belongs. And I point to Igna.
I think Solvig can help us there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Let's go.
Right.
All right. So you make your way back across the city to the shrine of the Everbloom. It definitely seems like moving through the city. It takes a bit of time. You have to be, sticking to the back alleys. You have to be careful where you're going. But it seems like a lot of the city's attention is focused on what used to be, the site of the clock tower that you just brought down. You see patrols of Winter Guard rushing to and fro in different directions. Perhaps individuals carrying messages from various parts of the city to others. Keeping your head down, moving quickly and quietly, you're able to get back across the city without attracting too much attention. And after a short while, you find yourselves back at the entrance to the shrine of the Everbloom, and you make your way inside. You are challenged as you enter. You're challenged for a password.
Oh, the rose that blooms in the ever dying ember of battle.
Yep, you are waved through the checkpoint with all the knights, the heralds of summon's return, holding it with crossbows. And as you step into the shrine of the Everbloom itself, you enter a place that is you can see the shrine is abuzz with activity. It's the most active you've ever seen. You can see that there are heralds rushing to and fro. Some of them strapping on armor. Some of them readying weapons and sharpening swords. That kind of thing. And you look over and you see standing around one of the tables that you'd eaten at the day before, with what appears to be a map of the city and chess pieces littered across it. You see standing around. You see Solveig Erdal, the leader of the Heralds of Summer's Return. You see a couple of other familiar faces. You see Maori and you see Yasha, who you had rescued from beneath the Bone Grinder, and you also see the Winter Guard turncoat, now no longer in his uniform at all. You see Christian, who you had previously rescued as well. Alongside them, you can see that there is an older man dressed in armour very similar to that of the Winter Guard. However, instead of blues and whites, the armour is sort of coloured in blacks and greys. And you would recognise it. Certainly, Ryden would recognise this as I've forgotten his name. I'll find it later. But Ryden would recognise this as the former commander of the Iron Guard, who were Whitethrone's police force before Elvana staged her coup. And they seem to be making some sort of preparations. But as you enter, Solveig looks up, and for Ryden's benefit, Solveig Erdal is a tall human, perhaps sort of 6 foot 2 tall. He has sort of quite close cropped blonde hair, very broad shoulders. His face is completely clean shaven. He is dressed in a breastplate, under which he has sort of an undershirt of a deep red crimson colour, and you can see sort of tattooed on his left hand. You can see there is a tattoo of a rose covered in bloody thorns, which you would recognise as a symbol of Milani, who is the goddess of liberty and of rebellion. And he looks up at you all as you enter, and sort of bringing himself to his full height. He looks at all of you and he says, "Well, I gather by that cacophony that's just happened outside, I gather you've given us an opportunity."
Yes, we need to recover first. Oh, by the way, this is our friend Ryden. Don't be misled by appearances. She's not evil.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I assumed that she was with you, so you'd already made the whatever requisite checks you needed to. But
Yep. Alwyn asked the question. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I honestly can't say I would have looked at you and thought that you were evil. Not my first thought at least. But there we go.
Well, at least someone sees sense.
So my scouts tell me that you've succeeded in at least driving off Lagrovich for a short time. You brought down the tower, is that correct?
Yes.
It's quite impressive. You'll have to tell me the story at some point. Whilst you were there, I appreciate you were busy with your sabotage and the dragon and all that sort of stuff. Did you manage to look into that personal favor I asked you for?
Yes. Come forward. Owen will drag Barclay forward.
All right. As you push Barclay forward, you see Solveig. Solveig sees Barclay, and Barclay sees Solveig. and you watch as something in Solvig's face breaks. This facade of this tough rebellion leader, it cracks for a second, and you watch as a trickle of tears actually starts to run down from Solvig's eyes, and he looks at Barclay, he says, "Oh, by the Everbloom, Barclay, I didn't think I'd ever see you again." And Barclay, for his part, Solvig Airdal, my, had I known that you were in this fantastic city, I would have endeavoured to join you sooner, my dear boy. And the two rush together, and they embrace very, very tightly. And you watch as they sort of pull back a little bit. Solvig puts his hand on Barclay's face, and they share a very brief kiss, a very brief little smooch. And after a moment, they sort of remember where they are, and they sort of separate. Not sheepishly. They don't seem ashamed, but they realise that perhaps the time for a more intimate reunion is not right this moment. And Barclay says, "Yes, well, it's so good to see you, my dear boy. It's been quite the ordeal getting out. I'll go and clean myself up, shall I?" Yes, please. There is a washroom down the hall, easy to find. Barclay, I'm so glad you made it out there, and all of you. And he turns to all of you. I'm sorry I wasn't more honest with you, but well, I suppose the cat's out of the bag now. But I had a concern that was more than that of a patron of the arts, as you might have guessed.
As it turns out, it was definitely all for the best, because it turns out that Barclay is something of a hero. He managed to sort of single-handedly save this young lady as the tower was collapsing around us.
Really? Well,
Inga.
I'll have to get him to tell me that story when we have some time. Hello, young lady. Your name's Inga. Your name's Inga, yes? You see, he sort of crouches down, so he's at her level. Inga, sort of still clinging onto Chardonnay, looks and just nods. Inga, and so Alwyn, Della, Amos, Ryden, you said this girl was inside the tower. You got her out?
Alwyn will look over at Della.
Yes. Sorry, I'm not feeling very well.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's all right. I can see you've had quite the ordeal. You look like you've been through the ringer, which is to be expected when you just demolished the tower, I assume, with yourselves inside it.
Yes, that was a good idea, but we made it.
Yes, this girl, Inga, what was she doing there? Do you know?
Don't know. She was away from the other children, in a room with someone called Granny Nan.
Granny Nan. Interesting. I wonder if that's Nan Hatreska.
Nan Hatreska. I don't think I've heard of that before.
Nan Hatreska. She's one of the Jodwiga. She's a white witch. Last of her particular bloodline, comes from a very obscure family. The only reason I know of her is there was some scandal about this time last year. Actually, she Nan Hadreska, she had a bit of a habit. She lost a lot of money, had to sell her last remaining property, and the way I heard it, because the White Witches can't be seen to be poor or to be in any way associated with the common folk. Last I heard, they quietly gave Nan Hadreska somewhere to live and spend her days. Seems it might have been the clock tower.
She was quite scared of her.
Aye, well, I'm sure you've all heard the stories about what witches do with children. I'm just glad that didn't happen to you, my dear. Do you have any parents, Inga? Where do you live? And Inga pipes up and she says, No, Mister Fighterman. Solvig, please call me Solvig. No, Solvig, I don't have any parents. My parents died when I was very, very little. No, I used to live in one of the orphanages over in the Midden. But some people came one day, told me that I'd been bad, and I had to leave. I had to leave the orphanage, and they took me to that tower.
Oh, well, you won't ever have to go back there.
No, and I'm sure we can find a nice family unit for you to live safely with, and Alwyn will look pointedly at Solvig.
Don't you worry, Alwyn. I'm already thinking about it. Certainly, she's safe here with us for the time being. Once this is all settled down, once you've done what you're doing, I will try and, if I can't get her out of the city, I will at least make sure she finds somewhere safe here in Whitethrone.
Or perhaps you could be nicely protected by a big fighter man and the hero who saved her from the tower.
Ha 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 ha. I see what you're getting at. I think that's a conversation I need to have with Barclay.
Oh, of course. Of course.
But
right.
We'll get to that. Get to that for sure. For now, Inga, my dear, why don't you go get yourself cleaned up? We can get you some. If you speak to this nice lady here, he gestures to one of the other heralds, and she sort of is busy tending to injuries and things. And if you speak to this nice lady here, she'll get you some nice food. Okay. All right, and then Inga goes off and disappears and starts settling into the shrine. Translation: Dom wants to get rid of all these NPCs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And as this happens, Solvig straightens up and he looks at all of you. Well, yeah. So you all look like it's taken a lot out of you. What's your plan? How soon are you looking to move?
I mean, how soon can I feel better?
Well, not today. We definitely need to rest up overnight.
At first light.
I think, yes. I definitely need a rest. Dom, can I take a medicine check or something to see about how I would lose the enfeebled condition?
The enfeebled condition. Let me just look at the ability. Make a religion check. Let's see how much you know extra you know about Attic Whisperers.
Oh, natural 20 for 33.
Nice.
I know everything about them.
There you go. So based on that roll, Alwyn, currently Alwyn is enfeebled 1 and also fatigued.
Yeah.
Basically, you get the sense that from stories about people having encounters with Attic Whisperers, the effects of their Steel Breath ability tend to last, in cases such as yours, they last for about a day. Like, your breath will return, you will get your strength back, but your body's going to take some time to, in order to recover itself.
Yes, we need about a day's rest, I would say. So maybe not first light.
At dusk, then.
I would also say, with the fatigued condition, you will need to sleep to get rid of that. And whilst you are fatigued, you cannot undertake any action with the exploration trait, which includes treat wounds.
Oh, that probably means the battle medicine didn't happen then.
I'm going to allow battle medicine
Okay.
because that's not really like you take time to do. We've joked before that it's like rubbing dirt on the wound, but that's basically what it is.
What about spells? Do they count as exploration? I'm thinking my lay on hands.
No, that wouldn't count.
Right. So, how many hours is it before like normal bedtime?
So at this point, it's probably mid to late afternoon.
Right.
So I mean, that depends really on what time, on when you want to go to sleep. One thing I will say, if you're thinking about kind of continuously doing lay on hands, refocus is also an exploration activity.
Right. Okay.
So the actions, the focus points you have are all the focus points you have right now.
Okay. I'm guessing Della is probably the worst out of all of us, or is it Amos?
You can be open with your hit points. Amos is currently on 18 out of 86.
22 out of 66.
Okay. I'll use lay on hands on Amos.
Okay.
And Ryden isn't badly hurt, I'm guessing, Asta?
She's at 27 out of 60.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we were all not doing very well
Okay.
then.
Yeah.
But just below half, so
It's almost like you just dropped a tower on yourselves.
almost. But yeah, Albin's going to use lay on hands on Amos. He's then going to use free action. I know we're not in rounds anyway.
Yeah,
but he's going to cast Desperate Prayer and do lay on hands on Della. And then he says, and now I'm going to bed.
How much does lay of hands give me?
18
Oh, very good.
hit points back.
It should be more than that, is it? It's 8 per.
6.
Oh, it's 6 per. Sorry, never mind. It is 18.
Yeah,
Good.
18 at the
I
moment.
feel a bit better.
But for a single action emergency heal, that's
It's not
Very
bad.
good.
yeah.
Not bad.
I mean, it is kind of a last resort. Well, Desperate Prayer then, lay on hands is last resort. But yeah, but Alwyn is just now going to go to bed.
All right. Okay. You retire to your quarters in the Shrine of the Everbloom. What's everyone else doing?
I think it's sensible to get a good night's sleep, yawning.
Yeah.
Before Ryden goes to clean up her dress and go to rest, she would like to spend a little bit of time observing the individual you pointed out, the former, was it captain or commander of the police force sort of setup?
Yeah. The former commander of the Iron Guard. What do you want to observe of him?
I'm not really sure. It's just like an instinctive thing of like, you pointed him out, so there's something about him.
Okay, the DM said it, so it must be important.
and I guess just kind of getting a feel for what his role here is and what he's bringing to the table with the plans that are going on, and I'm not really sure. Just something about it makes me want to just check him over.
No, of course, absolutely. Healthy skepticism. So I'm just seeing if I can find his name. No, I can't. Never mind. I'll make one up. Make a. I tell you what. You can make a society check for me, Asta.
That's a good roll. That is a dirty 30.
Dirty 30. So as you look at this individual, you know that this is this individual is called Volodymyr Borin. He is, as mentioned, he is the commander of the Iron Guard, which were White Throne's guard force prior to Elvana's coup and her replacing them with the Winter Guard. You know that he has always been a very staunch loyalist to Baba Yaga. He's been very vocal in his support for Baba Yaga, and certainly when Elvana was starting to perhaps overreach her authority a bit, he was among the first to be openly critical of it, which you suspect may have led to Elvana basically replacing the Iron Guard with the Winter Guard, who are completely loyal to her. The last you'd heard of him, this individual, he had supposedly been killed following a protest against Elvana's imposition of martial law. However, it seems obvious that either he escaped that situation or that rumour has been fabricated in order to keep him safe. And you're sort of watching him as he's engaging with Solvig, and you get the sense that he's really the ranking officer amongst the Iron Guard, and it's the Iron Guard, basically the few remaining members of the Iron Guard are basically working with the Heralds of Summer's Return in order to spring this uprising and give your companions a window into whatever it is they're trying to do. What I will say is that there is a very uneasy, almost truce between Solvig and Vladimir, because you know, and this is mostly from things you've heard with your prior associations, the Heralds of Summer's Return, according to the White Throne citizenry, are regarded almost as terrorists or freedom fighters or that kind of thing. Their cause has been to basically convince Baba Yaga to release the citizenry of Irison and allow Summer to return to the land. And so previously, when the Iron Guard were White Throne's police force, they would have been actively hunting and cracking down on the Heralds. However, it seems that Elvana's coup has thrown the two groups into an alliance of convenience. That's what you get from that.
Okay. That's amazing. Alright. I will sort of linger and just watch the interactions for a while, just out of interest, and Ryden starts sort of noting down these things in a book that she has as they come to her, just to jot it down, before eventually she will go and see about cleaning her dress and going to sleep.
So Ryden, just as you're leaving the main chamber and you're making your way off to clean yourself up, one of the heralds one of the other individuals within the shrine approaches you, Rotund, as you do so, and it starts off as though this individual is bringing you some bread. As she places the bread into your hand, you notice that her eyes, rather, you can only see one of her eyes. The other is covered by an eye patch. And as she hands you this piece of bread, she leans in very close to you, Rotund, and she says, "You shouldn't stare so much, little sister. It'll draw attention to you." And then she parts.
Rotund sort of visibly stiffens on the spot, and then very quickly turns and just leaves very quickly and very quietly.
Right, go and clean yourself up. And so yeah, I think as Rotund has that interaction and goes off to clean herself up, I think that's where we're going to end that episode for tonight.
Intrigue.
Secrets.
Yeah.
Tales from the 20side is a Feagle Films production in association with Juicy Falls. Music by Alexander Nakarada and editing by Stu Jackson. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Discord by searching Tales from the 20side or by visiting talesfromthe20side.com.
That's all right. We didn't see any of that. We were asleep.
No,
Good.
no, you didn't.
Speaking of secrets, is Della still wearing her gloves?
Yeah.
Also, her hat is still glowing.
Yeah. Like, why can't I sleep? It's so bright in here.
Yeah, the entire time, throughout that entire thing, Della's hat has just been glowing like a beacon.
And for some reason, we still didn't get found.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I'll say at some point when Rotund's cleaning herself up, she'll probably cast light on an object just to make her room glow slightly. So at some point, the light on the hat will go out.
Just goes out, yeah.
Ah, finally.
I can sleep. Oh, the migraine, God.